The story I'm about to share with you about breast implant illness is mine, but it's not unique. It closely resembles hundreds of thousands of other women's stories from all around the world. The reason why we got breast implants, how they made us feel, all the weird symptoms that started to happen, the doctor's appointments that we went to with dead ends, feeling like we were dying, to discovering breast implant illness, explanting, and then getting better. It's a story told time and time again all over the world. This one's mine. My heart is pounding, even though I've told this story probably close to 100 times over the last 3 years. So I'm going to start in the beginning and take you up to where I am now, which is 3 years post-explant. So when I was a teenager, I never developed breasts, plain and simple. I was very small. And when I was 19 years old, I told myself, I'm gonna get breast implants. And back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I saw a lot of women that had them. I watched MTV, so there was Carmen Electra and Jenny McCarthy and Pamela Anderson and all of these women who had breast implants. And it just seemed like the thing to do if you didn't have breasts. You just go out, you buy breast implants, right? So when I was 19, I told myself I was gonna go get them. And I never got them until I was 23. Like a lot of women, I got them because I was just very insecure. I took very good care of my body and I exercised, but the one thing that I could not change, no matter how much cardio I did or how much I lifted weights, was changing the size of my breasts. So I got breast implants because I thought they would make me whole and more womanly, more attractive, and I would never pick on another body part ever again. That ended up being a lie. But let me take you back. So when I was 23, almost 24, I actually got breast implants. I got 420 cc silicone smooth under the muscle, and I went from an A cup to a D cup. I loved them. They looked great. They felt great. I had no issues with them for the first 5 years. They helped my confidence. I could now wear really cute clothes and bathing suits and lingerie. So I got the breast implants and everything was good. I was actually a personal trainer at the time and taking very good care of my body. I was in my mid-20s, and ironically enough, after I got breast implants, I developed binge eating disorder. Don't think it's really, I don't think the two really have anything to do with each other. It's just kind of like a coincidence. I've always struggled with my weight and my body image and food. So this just kind of seemed like the natural progression that things were going. It just happened to be like within a year after getting my breast implants, I developed full-blown binge eating disorder that I actually struggled with for about 4 to 5 years. So anyways, I got the breast implants, felt really good, no issues. But then when I had my son in 2011, that's when things changed for me. I noticed I was a lot more fatigued and I had a lot more brain fog and just like memory issues. It just felt really slow, and I just chalked it up to being a new mom. I just gave birth, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm used to being out and about. I was a personal trainer and I was a waitress, so I was always out and about, moving around and around people, and now I'm like at home, right? So just chalked it up to that. But then in 2014, that's when things really changed for me. And mind you, this whole time since I was 15 years old, I was always taking care of my body, exercising, eating good, so on and so forth. A couple years before a lot of this happened, I was actually competing in fitness competitions, and I had to stop that because of what I was experiencing. So in October 2014, I got a swollen lymph node in my armpit. And I didn't know what it was at the time. I just felt it, and there was a ball underneath my armpit, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I went to my gynecologist, and she looked at it, and she felt around, and it was very tender. Like even my bra going against it or me sleeping on my side, like it really hurt. And so she looked at it, and she said, yeah, it looks and feels like a lymph node. Your body's just probably fighting something. It's nothing to worry about. But if it goes away and then comes back, definitely go see your doctor. So she didn't seem concerned about it, so I didn't seem concerned about it. I was like, well, I just got done competing in a fitness competition last month. Like maybe my immune system's just a little bit weak and my body's just probably fighting something. Didn't think too much about it. Went on with my life. And then in December 2014, so 2 months later, it did go away after that, but then in December it came back. So that's when I was like, okay, my body is probably fighting something. Let me go to the doctor and, see what she says. So I went to the doctor. My doctor put me on antiviral and antibiotics, and those two things didn't do anything for my armpit. And this is when a lot of my symptoms started coming in. So for some women, their symptoms kind of trickle in year by year, and it just kind of like sneaks up on them. For me personally, majority of my symptoms came within like a 6 to 8 month period. I went from being very healthy, competing, living a very normal life, to all of a sudden within like 1 year, in and out of doctors, not feeling good. So in January 2015, this started, and then I also started to experience really bad anxiety and depression. Never experienced this kind of feeling before. It was so bad that some mornings I would wake up and literally be anxious the moment I woke up, to the point to where I would walk around my neighborhood drinking ginger tea because my stomach just felt so uneasy and I just felt so anxious. And I've never had to deal with this before. And I didn't really have any good reason to be feeling this. Nothing was going on in my life to make me feel anxious or worried or scared or to be depressed about. It just came out of nowhere. Then my hair started to fall out a lot more every time that I showered. And I remember it getting to the point to where I didn't even want to take a shower anymore because I just didn't want to lose all this hair. Every time I took a shower, it was just so much hair. My eyes started to get a little bit blurry, and I started to gasp for air, and I started to have hip joint pain in my right hip. It got so bad sometimes that laying down didn't help, sitting up didn't help, nothing helped, and I would have to walk really slow. I would have to warm up my hip in the morning. And mind you, at the time in 2015, I just turned 32. I'm young. I should not be dealing with fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, depression, hip joint pain, blurry vision, my hair falling out. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Went to the doctors and got some blood work taken for my thyroid, my liver, stuff like that. And everything just came back in the normal range. And I just was always thinking, but something is wrong with my body. I thought I had a rare cancer that no doctor could figure out, and I was just going to die of this rare cancer. I thought I had lymphoma, I thought I had leukemia, because my white blood cell numbers were always just off, and my monocytes were, I think, really high. So I was just really trying to figure out what was wrong with me. There was one time that I was out to dinner with my family and some friends, and I all of a sudden started to have tremors at dinner. I just uncontrollably was just shaking. I wasn't cold. I don't know what that was from. It's only happened one time, and it was so scary. During this time, just to kind of tell you how I was feeling, I was really scared. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was trying to find answers. I was trying to keep my head on straight. My son was, 2, 3, 4 years old at the time. And I was just always so tired, even though I didn't really do anything. All I did the majority of the day was just go to the gym and then come home and work. Because I worked from home. I was a fitness trainer online. I was just always so tired. My husband used to look at me and just be like, what's wrong? And I would just be like, I'm tired. I'm just tired. And he'd just be like, you're always tired. And I'm like, I know, I'm just tired. Trust me, I don't want to be tired. I'm tired. My doctor at the time, because I went in there one day just bawling my eyes out. I was just feeling the weight of the world on me. And I went to my doctor and I was just crying in the office, and she looked at me and she's like, wow, you're clearly not good. And she handed me a prescription for Xanax. I've never felt so dismissed, misunderstood, and not taken seriously ever before in my life. I was offended that she did that. I did get the prescription filled, but I could never get myself to take it. I just thought, this is going to mask the problem. This isn't going to get to why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. Like, why am I feeling this way? What is going on with my body? So, in 2017, I discovered breast implant illness. And when I first heard about it, it was on the news downstairs, and there was a handful of women on the news, and they were talking about how they had all of these symptoms. And I was like, oh my God, those symptoms are like exactly like my symptoms. And they were talking about how they had breast implants, and they removed their breast implants, and then they got better. And they talked about breast implant illness and explanting, which were two words that I never heard of before. And so at this point, I was coming up to my 12-year mark of me having my implants, and I knew, okay, I'm going to need to get these things, I'm going to need to get a new set, because my plastic surgeon did tell me, like, every 10 years you will need to get a new set and get them exchanged. So I knew, like, I was coming up to that time where I needed to get a new set, but I was also toying around with, like, do I really want to keep having surgery every 10 years? Like, I have a family now, and honestly, I feel so out of alignment with these. Like, I preach loving your body and accepting your body, but here I am with breast implants in. And I honestly didn't like them after I gave birth to my son, because I started to have a lot of rippling right here in the cleavage area, and my implants bottomed out. So it looks like you have your natural breasts, and then like your implants settle under here. They bottomed out, and my skin was very thin. So I didn't like the look of them. I was always hiding them when I wore a bathing suit or anything. I wore like those tube top bathing suits, because anytime I bent over, you would really see the wrinkles, and you could just tell I had breast implants, right? Just didn't look natural anymore. So I didn't like how they looked, and I didn't really feel good in them anymore. So I discovered breast implant illness, and I was like, oh my God, I think this is what's going on with me. Because for the last 5 years, I've been in and out of the doctors. Nobody can find anything wrong with me. I'm taking all the supplements. I cleaned up my household cleaning products. I cleaned up my cosmetics. I try to remove as many toxins from my environment as possible, to see if maybe something's going on out here that is making me, sick inside. But what it was the whole time was inside of me that was making me sick. So discovered breast implant illness, and I went inside these Facebook groups. When I was reading these stories, I could have written them myself. I was like, oh my gosh, her story is exactly like my story, to the point to where why she got them. She had a baby, she thought it was pregnancy, and then she's in and out of the doctors, and the doctors are telling her everything's normal. She feels like she's dying. She has all these same symptoms, right? It's like I felt validated, and I felt heard and understood for the first time in 4 years. And then, of course, when I found out what breast implants were made out of, I wanted them out of me. I was like, okay, this is what's wrong with me. These things should not be inside of anybody. I don't even know how they got approved. It's unacceptable, honestly. So I did a lot of research, and luckily I had one of the best explant surgeons actually 30 minutes away from me. So a year went by since I discovered breast implant illness, and I just knew okay, I'm gonna explant, but the time wasn't right. So a year went by, and then I started to develop gasping for air. And that was one of the last symptoms that came for me. And I was upstairs doing laundry, I remember, and I was gasping for air, and something came to me and said, Christina, this is not normal what you're going through. You know about breast implant illness. Go get, your breast implants taken out now. So I that voice just came to me. So I went to my husband and I said, honey, I'm in the room gasping for air, just doing laundry. I have fatigue, memory loss, swollen lymph nodes, anxiety, depression, my hair's falling out. I can barely see, my eyes are so blurry, my hip joint hurts. I'm gonna go schedule my consultation for my explant and get the ball rolling. And he was like, okay, cool, So I went and called them and scheduled my consultation. met with Dr. Rankin and went over everything. And I scheduled my consultation I scheduled my explant surgery for November of 2018 with Dr. Rankin. Now, when I scheduled that date, it became very real for me. And I would say I was 25% excited and 75% freaked out of my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is real. I'm going to have a surgery. What if I die on the table? What if I get them out and I don't get better? Like, what if I'm completely flat? What if like John isn't attracted to me anymore and like within a year we're not together, right? Like, we have all of these concerns and worries when we decide to do this. It's not an easy decision. It might like for me, it was an easy decision to make, but we still have all of these doubts and worries pop up. It's a very emotional process to go through when you're discovering breast implant illness and when you actually make that explant date to have your surgery. So after I scheduled my explant surgery, which was in July, I started to feel like my symptoms just amplified and they intensified. My anxiety was a lot worse. Every day I felt more and more anxious. I just wanted them out like yesterday. And so I told my husband, I was like, you know what? I think I want to have a consultation with Dr. Dev, which is Dr. Rankin's colleague at the time. And he's like, no, just go with Dr. Rankin. He's considered the best. He's done more explants. You know, that's just how my husband is and how most men are. They're like, just go with the best of the best, right? But for me, I was like, look, Dr. Dev does everything that Dr. Rankin does, and he can get me in sooner. I literally just want to get my life back. I want to get to feeling better. So I think I'm going to just schedule a consultation with him, feel him out, and then go from there. So I actually never got to that consultation, and I'll tell you why. One day I was out on the patio taking my dog out, and I was conflicted. What do? Do I wait, go with the best of the best, best of the best? Or do I just move up my date and go with Dr. Dev, who still has amazing, patients just rave about him. He knows what to do, right? So I looked up to the sky and I said, okay, I talked to the universe and I said, okay, show me a sign. If I'm supposed to go with Dr. Rankin, show me a raccoon, whether it be in person or on TV, just show me a raccoon. Rankin, raccoon, right? And then I was like, if I'm supposed to go with Dr. Dev, show me a deer, whether it be in person, and I'm in Florida, so it's very rare to see a deer. Whether it's in person or on TV, show me a deer. What am I supposed to do? A couple days went by. I think it was 3 days that went by. And I wake up one morning, and my son always comes into the bed with us in the middle of the night, and he was watching America's Funniest Home Videos. And he wakes me up and he's like, Mommy, look at this, look at the TV, and I wake up, there's a freaking deer on the TV. I shit you not. I'm not even joking. I wish I took a picture to show you. But there's a deer on the TV. And I was like, okay, that's my sign. I'm supposed to go with Dr. Dev. And I actually had a consultation scheduled with him in 5 days from that date. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go see him in a couple days. I'll probably just end up scheduling my explant surgery with him. I go on social media on Instagram and I still have the screenshot of this. And Dr. Dev's patient coordinator on Instagram posts a story and it says, Dr. Dev has an opening this Thursday for a surgery. The patient didn't clear. If you would like to get in for a surgery this Thursday, text me this with her number. So I woke up one morning, I saw my deer on TV, and within 20 minutes, Beatrice wrote that story on Instagram. So I took it as, here's your sign, here's your opportunity. Are you going to trust me? So I called Beatrice. This gets me emotional because at the time of this video, it's actually the day this all happened. But I called Beatrice and I was like, hey, I'd like to get in this Thursday. Could he do an explant? And she's like, yeah, come in. We'll do all your paperwork, your blood work, all that stuff, and all of that. And I was like, oh my God, I was just like, I went from being 4 months out to 4 days out of my surgery. I woke up my husband and I was like, honey, Dr. Dev has an opening this Thursday for a surgery, to actually have my surgery. I think I want to do this. And again, he's like, I think you should just wait, this and that. And I was just like, no. And I told him about my story, about how I saw my deer and all of this. I was like, this is what I got to do. We talked about it for like 30 minutes and we decided to do it. So I went and I met with Dr. Dev that day. And 4 days later, I had my explant surgery. The day of my explant, when I woke up, I never had any more hip joint pain. My hip joint pain literally went away the day of my explant, and it's never returned. I've never experienced hip joint pain. And when I say I had hip joint pain, it was like stiffness and achiness, to the point to where, like, if we would go to Legoland, I would have to stop like every 30 minutes to stretch out my hip. It's gone, completely gone. I never experienced any more anxiety or depression bouts. My mood was, I felt like myself again before I got the breast implants. I felt like happy, chipper, happy-go-lucky, fun-loving, carefree. I felt like me again. My hair stopped falling out, as much as it was. My eyes got so much better. This actually ended up turning out to be a fibrocystic breast, because it always comes around my period. And then when I get my period, it goes away. And then it comes back again the next month around my period. So this is actually very hormonal. It's not a lymph node. My libido came back. Everything improved. Everything. And all I did was I explanted. I didn't change my diet. I didn't do anything different. I didn't take supplements, nothing. All I did was I explanted. So now I kind of want to get into what's improved since my explant. And the long story short is everything. Everything has improved. My relationships have improved to my husband and my son, because now I can show up, right? My energy, my memory. We went on a 3-month RV trip a couple of years ago, and I would have never been able to do that with my breast implants in. My hip would have hurt, and I would have had no energy, and I probably would have had some anxiety in there, because I was just more prone to being anxious and getting anxiety. So we did that. I can now hug, and I feel like I'm just so much closer when I hug. Just feel overall, mentally, emotionally, physically, so much better. And this is just my story. There are some women who explant and it takes them a couple of years to fully recover. I always say that explanting is not the cure. It's not like I'm going to explant and then I'm going to get better and everything's going to be like great, right? Some women do experience that, but it takes time. Your body takes time to really cleanse and repair and get back into balance after all that it's been through over the years. So, my main message would be just to trust your body. No matter if you're waiting to explant, if you just heard about breast implant illness, if you just explanted, whatever phase you are in, whatever you're going through, just always trust your body. She really is on your side, even though there might be some moments where it feels like she's not. I just want to let you know that she is, and I want you to start acting like she is, because she really is. She is rooting for you and pulling you through whatever you're going through. I also want to say, don't compare your body or your healing journey to anybody else's on social media. I know that it's so easy to do that. It's like, she looks so good and we explanted at the same time. Like, why don't I look that good, or why aren't I feeling that good, right? We just don't know what that other person is doing. Maybe you have the MTHFR gene mutation, or you're on medications, or you just have like a little bit more of a stressful life than she does, right? We just don't know what somebody else is doing or taking or anything like that. So try not to compare your body or your healing journey to anybody else's online. And the last thing that I want to say is, especially if you recently just explanted, the 3 things that I'm always saying to just focus mostly on at this time is self-care, patience with your body and yourself and your recovery and everybody else around you, and forgiveness. So forgiving yourself for what you did to yourself, not knowing what you knew back then, but what you know now. You need to focus on that because it takes a lot of courage to do what you just did. Forgive your ex for talking you into getting breast implants. Forgive the FDA. Forgive the breast implant manufacturers. Forgive your plastic surgeon. Forgive whoever you need to forgive. And then just rest and soak it all in and focus on that healing. So that's my story in a nutshell. I got the breast implants because I just wanted to feel whole, and that wasn't the case after a few months. I was now picking on this little part of my skin, and I was picking on my cellulite, and I was picking on my flat stomach. So while they may have boosted my confidence for 6 months, maybe a year, they didn't fix me like I had hoped. And nothing is worth my health. Not even breast implants. Not even big breasts. So, I feel like I kind of covered everything. It's been quite the journey. Many downs, but many more ups. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through, there is hope. Things will get better. You just got to trust yourself and trust your body and do whatever you feel like you need to do for yourself, and always put your health and your happiness before anything in life. Don't go, following society standards of what they say beauty looks like, because it's a lie. I am very small, but I am confident, and society would tell me not to feel that way because I don't have big breasts. So I want you to put up that finger and rebel and show the world that we can be confident without breast implants, without a C cup, and that it is possible, because it is possible. And I'm here for you. If you need any more support, you can email me, or you can join my Facebook group, Breast Implant Illness, Rejuvenation, and Education with Christina. And you can also find me on Instagram at IamSizeHappy. So thanks for watching. I love you all so much.